Micky didn't hesitate. The force field gate at Terminus buzzed shut behind him, sealing off the only pocket of safety for miles. The caravan was still preparing to move, but he was already gone. No goodbye, no delay. He moved at a pace just short of a sprint, boots thudding against dry ground, his breathing steady but sharp. Dust rose in swirls behind him, caught in the weak morning light. He gripped the strap across his chest, feeling the comforting weight of the sword sheathed on his back. No spear, no long-range hope, just cold steel and instinct. He was heading east, the direction Elli and Oakley had gone. They hadn't waited for him. He didn't blame them. The moment Ryder left with the fixer, Callan, Micky knew something was wrong. The kind of wrong that didn't show itself outright, but lingered under the surface, coiled and ready. Ryder's eyes had said more than his words ever could. And if Ryder was involved, if danger was coming, then Elli and Oakley weren't going to sit idle. Neither was Micky. The terrain was sharp, uneven, a patchwork of old cracked road and sun-hardened soil. Scattered weeds broke through like reminders that nature was always pushing back. The sky above was pale and cloudless, but the horizon shimmered faintly, heat or fog, he couldn't tell yet. He followed their tracks as best he could, twin sets of prints close together, moving fast, probably keeping off the road where they could. Smart. The open road was a beacon for raiders and worse. His chest tightened at the thought. Raiders, demons, nightfall. He picked up the pace. The sword across his back shifted with every step, a reassuring weight. Old-world steel, reforged in Stillwater's smithy. He'd taken care of it himself. Cleaned, honed, wrapped the hilt in tight leather. It was reliable, unlike the world. Up ahead, the trail curved toward a dip in the terrain, an old drainage route, now mostly dried out. Thorn bushes clawed at the edge, and dead trees leaned like crooked sentries. Micky slowed, crouched near the edge. More prints, still fresh. A smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Not joy, just relief. He was close. He stood and scanned the distance, still no sign of them, but they couldn't be far. Maybe another hour, maybe less, if he cut across the gully and climbed the ridge beyond. He set off again, this time angling away from the road entirely. The further he moved from Terminus, the more the world felt alive again. Not in the good way, in the watching way. Bird calls had quieted, wind barely stirred. The air was heavy, like the land was waiting. He didn't stop. He would find Elli and Oakley. He'd catch up before nightfall. He had to. Because if they were heading into trouble, and Ryder was already out there, Micky wasn't going to be the one left behind again. Micky's boots pounded the cracked earth as the ruins of Terminus faded behind him. Dust swirled in his wake, kicked up by each hurried step. He didn't look back. He couldn't afford to. The air was dry and sharp, clinging to his throat like rust. Overhead, the sun tried to break through a pale wash of clouds, but it only managed a dull grey light. The world ahead looked endless, wide stretches of scrub and broken road, with crumbling overpasses leaning like skeletons of a forgotten age. The kind of place demons crept through when no one watched. He ran with his sword strapped tight across his back, angled slightly for a clean draw. The weight of it was familiar, grounding. More than once, his hand drifted to the hilt out of instinct, knuckles pale with tension. He wasn't expecting trouble, but he knew better than to pretend it wasn't out there. The caravan hadn't noticed him leave. At least he didn't think they had. He'd moved fast, grabbed his gear, left a short note scrawled in grease pencil on the back of a ration tin. Had to go. Watch the skies. He didn't know if they'd understand what it meant. He cared more about catching up. Elli and Oakley had a head start, but not much of one. If he was right, and he usually was when it came to reading their movements, they'd have followed the ridgeline south, avoiding the open plains where nests sometimes formed. That meant narrow paths, dried creek beds, and the occasional collapsed overpass they'd have to cross carefully. He kept his pace steady but hard, pushing his body like he had when he trained. Back when training meant something, when survival wasn't the curriculum. Muscles burned, lungs pulled tight, but he didn't stop. Every once in a while, he spotted tracks, boot prints, drag marks, a scrap of torn cloth caught on rusted wire. He knew them well enough to recognize Oakley's stride. It made his jaw tighten, but not from worry, from relief. He was on the right trail. Then came the signs he didn't like. More prints, heavier, cruder, spread wide like someone was flanking. Raiders. He crouched by a mark in the dirt, brushing it lightly with his fingers. Recently made, deeper than Elli's or Oakley's, someone carrying gear, maybe armor. Probably 6 or more of them, moving fast, but not like they were running, like they were hunting. His stomach sank. He picked up his pace. Hours passed like smoke. Shadows shifted. The wind started to pick up, thin and cold, tugging at the edges of his jacket and sweeping grit into his eyes. He squinted against it, face set, determination coiled in every step. Then he heard it, not loud, but clear enough. Movement. Just over the rise, past the old vehicle shell rusting into the hillside, he saw them. Elli, Oakley. They were crouched near a slope, eyes fixed on something he couldn't yet see. Neither of them noticed him approach, not until a rock shifted beneath his boot. Elli spun first, spear halfway raised before she registered him. "Micky," she hissed. "What the hell?" "Quiet," he said, breath sharp but steady. "I caught up." Oakley gave him a nod, half surprise, half approval. "I tracked you," Micky added, kneeling beside them, sword ready. "But I think someone else did too." Oakley didn't speak, just pointed down the hill, and there, in the haze of distant fog, barely visible, figures, 6, maybe more, raiders, stalking shadows through the dying light, and Ryder, Callan, somewhere out there. Micky's grip tightened on his sword. Whatever came next, they were in it now,